Hi everyone, I hope you're well. I have many failures in my life, but one of them is as a photographer. I have this great camera. This is an Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II. The reason why I'm a failure as a photographer is because I take photos and then they linger on my hard drive. I enjoy the process, I show them to a few friends and family, but then they don't really go anywhere. So today I thought I'd share with you some photos from my trip to Texas in January 2024. So this is still in the UK at the coach station. That purple light is from the sensor on my phone that tells you, or that tells the phone when your head's near it, so it doesn't blast light into your eyes. This is in the airport in London. Um, I kind of like the cleaning robots. A lot of people say this, but it really is like living in the future. Although that one appears to be broken because it's stopped just short of the charging station. It kind of has this suggestion that it continues outside the frame. You can just see this reflection here and here. Um, it's kind of bizarre as well to see a Boots vending machine, right? Like, does that exist outside an airport? I mean, I've never seen one.
Finally got here to San Antonio, Texas. This is the Emily Morgan. I'm in 1202. Like, it is big, you know. It's very big, very spread out. It's so different from any like European place, which I kind of wasn't expecting. Well, I knew it was going to be different, obviously, but it's sort of weird as to how different. I mean, if you take a look at the intersection, as they would say, it's so different, so big. You could not live here without a car. The American plug socket, let me tell you, it's awful. So the point of these indentations, or not indentations, holes, is so that it stays in. But the sockets just don't have like a baldy tent to actually make it stay in. That's my phone adapter there. It's actually rated for 110 volt usage. However, I'm using this USB outlet. Also has USB-C, which is nice, and wireless charging. My phone doesn't support that, but it's really nice to have. The reason why I'm not using this is I plug this in, and my phone wasn't charging, and then I wiggle it, and I like hold it down a bit, and then it is charging, and I had to gradually like take my hand away. There is no indentation at all. I'm lucky that this even fits, because if the earthing pin was at the other side, I think they call it grounding in America, but what if the earthing pin was at that side, obviously that would not fit in with my adapter. My flight was delayed only by half an hour, but yeah, I was still absolutely knackered. And then I get to Austin. It's quite scary going out of the airport because I had to give them my fingerprints like on every finger and every thumb, which I've never done entering country before. So that kind of scares me as well, right? Because they're just going to keep that forever, presumably. There's a server in the Pentagon which will just always have a record of my fingerprints. That's a bit scary. My own government don't even have that. For the first time in my life, I took an Uber. So I downloaded and signed up for both Uber and Lyft. It's very easy. It cost me like $75, I think, to get from Austin to San Antonio. Obviously, a coach would be cheaper. I think a coach would have been like 30. But the guy was really nice, and I was chatting to him, and he actually told me to use Lyft because it's about $10 cheaper here. But obviously, that's going to vary a bit. So I tipped him like 20%. He's a really nice guy. We got stuck in traffic, so we only got here at like 20 to 12, to 20 to midnight, that is.
So I've forgotten how sick I was in this clip. A note on why I said that. When I live in the UK, i.e. all of the UK, you don't need to use a ride-sharing app. You can walk, you can take the train, you can take a bus. These services exist. They're very easy to use. It costs like £2 for one way. Whereas in America, I felt that I really did need to do this. Like there wasn't a really convenient way to get there by public transport. There were coaches, but I just didn't want to work that out. I knew I was getting there late, so I think it's a lot safer to do something like this. Why would you have disposable cups? Like, I don't understand. It's better than the one I had at my friend's hotel, but man, it's bad. It's like burnt. It might be a dark roast bean, but that's bad. I don't understand why you would have individually wrapped disposable cups. Like, what wouldn't it be? Like, cause you're washing the glasses, right? So why not wash like a mug? I might stick to the chamomile. Let's go that way. Might stick to the English breakfast tea. So I hope that didn't lose too many people. Back to the slideshow. There was this interesting mail chute system, which I don't think is in operation anymore, where you post your mail and it sort of falls down to reception, so you don't have to walk all the way down the stairs or use the lift. This is the hotel I stayed at. I think it's a 30s building. It's very, very nice. It's called the Emily Morgan. It's a superstitious hotel with no 13th floor. Very amusing. This is a bit of a funny story. I expected fire hydrants to be a bright colour, like red or yellow, but apparently in Texas they're silver. That's outside the Alamo. Yeah, the Alamo is a major tourist hotspot. You kind of go in through this door at the side and you come back out there, and then you can go into the chapel. There's a lot of bird life. I think that's just the warmer temperature makes it better for them. San Antonio has a very nice river walk. There's lots of touristy places and bars along the river. I noticed a protest. I have no idea what they were protesting, but nonetheless, you can also see some of the smaller cars. That's another shot of the river there. You can also make out a fire escape in the background, which I always find fire escapes aesthetically pleasing. And of course, I spotted some cats that were resident there. There they are. The crossings are very aggressive. So you press the button and then they tell you to wait. I've never experienced that before. It's very bizarre. There's another shot. I don't know why. I find this very pleasing. There's a kind of break in the symmetry where um, the pole that the crossing's erected on is kind of discontinued in this low line on the road. There's a better shot of a fire hydrant. So anyone could just unscrew them if they used a six-sided nut. So they use five-sided nuts, which is very unusual. That's more of the river. And that's one of those great old fire escapes. So I didn't get that in focus, unfortunately. These are on a counterweight, so as you walk down, the weight of your body will lower the lowest section on. But as you can see, that one's kind of sagging down. It should be level. I've seen a film at some point when I was a kid, and someone runs up and jumps and pulls one of those things down. That scene has stuck with me. I can't remember which film it is, but I've never seen one in real life. So I thought this is a very American sign, right? Johnny Rockets, the original hamburger. There's something very American about that. So this is the shopping centre. There's a kind of sort of weird inner area which is a bit obscure. It's a bit hard to get to, but nevertheless, there it is. So there's a very nice mural here, which is sort of bizarrely shaded, and the path kind of walking down the river is actually blocked off, so maybe more people would normally walk here, but it's rather sort of well hidden. That's actually a police boat in the middle of the frame. Sadly, I didn't get to see any police chases on the water, so that would have been very entertaining, I'm sure. There's another bridge. So this is a statue. This lady is holding a star, which is supposed to be the Star of Texas. I like the dragons on this lamp. So there's a saint, which is a very nice statue that's kind of out of place. So this is described as a public art garden. I don't really like the idea that you should have art constrained. You know, why not put it anywhere? You know, why not have, if you're building a roundabout, why not put a piece of art in the middle of it, as many people have done? That's a church with some scaffolding. That's not one of the bigger trucks. That's a sort of normal-sized truck. I quite like this. This kind of shows the enormity of it all. You know, just these massive, massive buildings. There's the classic American yellow school bus. More birds. A lot of birds. I found this wrong way sign very amusing. So I really like this kind of crappy sort of shovel full of gravel that someone's put over this to secure the sign in place. It's kind of amusingly crappy somehow. Also, these American signs are always built with the thought that someone could crash into it, so it's made to break. Now, I'm not sure what that building was. I kind of like how you have an old building and this much bigger building behind it, and then it's all cut by this traffic light. Some more huge buildings. That's the Emily Morgan you can see. I'm not sure what I was trying to achieve with this shot, but it's sort of like the traffic light. No, the street light is a crane somehow. It's part of the building. So there's a historical area called La Villita. Oh, I thought that was kind of amusing. There's some ducks, and this lady sort of squat down to take a picture. Oh, and I found a phone box. Amazing. I really didn't expect to see the class. I think it's called the K11 phone box. Yeah, this is just privately owned outside a pub. Yeah, just a very unexpected bit of home. So this is the Alamo much earlier in the morning. You can see a genuine Texan cop with a cowboy hat and gun, and I think that's the only gun I saw in the wild. So this bird is kind of insane. The sounds that it was making were bizarre. I've never heard a bird make sounds like this. It kind of makes you understand why some people think birds are fake, if this is the bird that you've seen. It's very bizarre. I'm not sure what species this is. And it kind of puffed out its feathers as well. Very, very entertaining. I assume it wanted bread or something from us. This is inside the Alamo. That's the back of my friend's head. He's also got a camera. I think he's just shooting the wall there. So this is the hospital in the mission. The That's one of the less hideous statues I saw. These bronzes are somehow over detailed, and I really didn't like them. There's some koi fish, which I didn't expect to see at the Alamo. This is inside the museum. There's an old Spanish monk carving. It's a very nice sword. So these are Mexican stirrups. The idea is if you're riding through thick brush, it will absolutely tear up your shoes and your feet. So why not have metal stirrups to protect them? Just another note, horses kind of know how wide their own body is, but they're not very good at accounting for the width of your legs, so horses can absolutely crush you by mistake. This is a lovely cart model. I'm not sure why this was made, but it was apparently used as a painting reference. It's a nice gun. There's a very cute little commemorative chess set. So this kind of drives me crazy. The positioning of the glass and the windows was really annoying. I couldn't photograph this without getting loads of reflection. There's a nice flintlock on display. I think this is a North African shield. They're very nice. It's hide that's been sewn together, 3 layers, I think. So that statue is life-size, just to give you an idea of how big this painting is. This is one of the better paintings there, in my purely subjective view. This kind of painting is favoured in America. I really don't like the vividness of the colours. It looks very unnatural to me. As well, it's somehow very plainer. I know America is quite flat, but it all just comes off as very unnatural and overly romanticized. This is, I think, the first Mexican flag, or an early one anyway. I really like this image of the eagle biting the snake. Very nice. I think that's a bit of La Velita. Oh, that's the front of the Alamo Chapel and the start of the Emily Morgan. So you can see clear transitions in the stone. The Alamo is not all as old as they say it is. Different bits were built at different times, including as late as the 1930s. That's some tourists. And we have Ireland, Scotland, Texas/Mexico, and Wales, and there's England on the other side. You can make out very clear transitions of the different periods of building. And you can see it there that the stone is completely different. So this is the observation tower, which has a restaurant at the top called Chart House. You can see the corner of my friend's head there. It's very dramatic. It was a sort of slightly foggy night, which really added to the mystique of these photos. Outside, there's this sort of water feature, and there's huge, great foam swirls, which you can just about make out in the corner. There's some nice Latin art. And from the top, even on a foggy night, the views are spectacular. So that is the silhouette of my friend's head, which I thought was quite amusing. I quite enjoyed the big chunky steak knife, and naturally I ordered a steak. It was very good. Yeah, I'm doing a video. Wait, you're not in focus.
Oh, okay. Don't worry then. I give up.
Trying to capture that slow drift might be a bit more difficult on video. This is going to be such a great travel vlog that I'll never edit. I'll never edit
You
this.
have to invite the entire family over.
No, it's going on YouTube. It's going to be my YouTube family. All 16 of my subscribers.
An absolute treat. Here we go, we have a moving wall.
It's fucking great. I don't know. Like, you can't really convey atmosphere properly in a video, but this is great. So the music you heard in that last clip was a live band. There's a sort of upper level with just a bar, and it's great. I really enjoyed it. Some nice modernist artwork. It looks really nice. Yeah, there's only so many times I can say it looks nice. So in this photograph, you can see that the lower portion of the carpet is not blurred and the upper portion is. That's the motion blur from the very low rotation. This metal dividing line is the boundary, obviously. You can see it's slightly curved. But the rate is so slow, it's very hard to capture. You don't really feel sick, or at least I didn't. So you can see the Grand Hyatt Hotel, which is actually where I attended a conference. That's why I was over there. It's massive and beautiful, and the city is huge. I mean, it's the 7th largest in the US apparently. San Antonio, it's amazing. So you can go even further up, and you're basically outside. Like, this is a grill. There's a glass area below, so you're not that exposed to the wind. There's also Zoltar there who'll read your palm. Yeah, so the grill lets you really feel the wind, which I enjoyed a lot. None of my friends were interested, but I stepped out here. It was very nice. I'm not at all afraid of heights. They decided to use purple mood lighting, which I appreciate. This stadium is so huge that it was even difficult to get in frame from this massive tower. And you can see the absolutely huge roads. I believe that's an interstate highway. So there's this emergency exit door that you can just about make out my friend's reflection on. Stairs, then I'll win.
Oh.
There we go.
Take word.
So I didn't record going up, but I recorded going down. I don't think that any sensitive information was discussed in this public lift, so I don't feel any shame in recording. I wasn't being particularly covert. Sir, do you have any comment on what you've just seen?
The swirling scum.
It's fucking beautiful.
Why didn't you go up again? Are you afraid of heights?
I thought about the swirling scum. Reminds me of my ex-wife, I love it.
How much did you spend on wine tonight, sir? Is the university paying for it?
This is your receipt.
There's this nice statue. We'd walked up the river, which no one seems to do. Strangely, it was a very nice walk. So we walked up the river because I wanted to visit the San Antonio Museum of Art. This is a cafe nearby. See my friend there. Outside the museum, there's this nice plaque. Or perhaps you call that a relief, I don't know. So the museum starts with this ancient Egyptian part, which I rather enjoyed. I'm going to go through these fairly fast, even though there's a lot to comment on, because this museum is massive. I didn't realize how big this was. There's some really excellent examples here. The museum just kept going. It's huge. This is the Japanese section. This is Chinese pottery. I also took some shots out the window. The bathrooms had these bizarrely long sinks. I've never seen a sink with these proportions. Maybe you're supposed to wash your forearms or your legs in there or something. And the toilets are weirdly low. I think this is just an American thing. So these flush units are kind of omnidirectional. Like you can turn this lever in any direction and it will flush, which I suppose is nice to have, but I don't really see the strong reason to do that. So this table has a very interesting join at the bottom here. This is in the Japanese section. I wish I'd got more details, but I've never seen a table that sort of joins as a pentagon like this. This is very, very enjoyable. So this is a Japanese lady's bedroom. So she would sit on the bed and entertain lady friends and things like that. And there's also small chairs. This is in the man's study. There's a really beautiful shelf, which looks quite simple on first glance, but it is very intricately made. And there's very tiny little embellishments. There's another table, which is again simple and beautiful, which I always admire. So I've forgotten what the name is, but the Japanese apparently put natural rocks on these beautiful stands and admired them, and I can see why, because they are indeed very pleasing. There's a hare. That's the man's study. And there's lovely horses. So this is actually a granary. It's not brilliantly lit at the bottom, but you can see that the entire structure is raised off the ground. I believe these are on animals as well, which is quite cute. The point of raising your grain, or grain silo being another word for granary, the point of raising your grain is so animals and moisture doesn't get to it. This is a mythical creature. This is a money tree. These are actually little coins. I took my very cool reflection here in this beautifully clean silvered lift. So there's a lot of amazing artifacts on the top floor. My favourite one was this Basketwork Bore, which is truly incredible. I've never seen anything like this. I believe this is from Papua New Guinea. They had these ceremonial yams. So you grow this long yam and you give it this sort of mask thing, and then you trade it with someone, and that's some cultural tradition, which is very nice. There's a beautifully carved bone. So this is a basket for a fisherman, which is very kind of primitively decorated, embellished, and it has a wonderful attaching mechanism. So you bore out a hole here in the lid, then when you draw the string it's pushed tight, and there's a wonderfully carved ring there which will seat the lid on the box, and that makes it waterproof. There's a beautiful club. In a lot of video games, you see wooden weapons as just being sort of junk, really. It's just a stick that someone found, when in reality they were wonderfully carved things in many cases. It is your weapon if you don't have steel weaponry, so why not make it intricate? I didn't get great photos of this. These are actually birds pecking at an eyeball. And there's some ceremonial meaning to this, which I have forgotten. So that's the gunstock club, the one that looks like a gunstock. So you can see the tower there, and I believe that's the Emily Morgan. So the tower has a glass bridge which just leads to another tower. So the museum was more than double what I was expecting. I rather enjoyed this picture. I was really rushing through at this point because I wanted to see it all. I really like some of these animal depictions. I mean, you know, that this cat is amazing. I love it. And you go down the stairs and there's just this rather friendly giant life-sized horse, which looks like he could be ridden. Some of these Day of the Dead artifacts are wonderfully made. They're so full of character. There's some ironwork. And this rather pleasing bear. So this is on the walk. There's just this dam structure, which is very nice. And there's one of these American bridges, which that's the classic bridge that the cowboys plant the dynamite underneath and then blow up. You'd think they'd just rot, but apparently the wood they have has a lot of resin in, which resists moisture. So we walk to another mission. This one is much older. It begins with a C. I can't remember the name. So this is going into the church. There's this rather pleasing shot. And then inside it's been very nicely painted. And this is amazing. It's like, I think we're not quite on center there, guys. So this is from the last day when I went back to Austin. I had a bit of time spare, so I went to the LBJ Museum, which is a really giant brutalist building. But most of it is records which are boring and you can't access anyway. So it's not really that much of a destination. There's some really hideous artwork, and a very disappointing sculpture garden with like 3 sculptures in it. I can't remember what this process was. I think it was some kind of electric process. There's a Sputnik, and the Americans are obsessed with pens. Like, they have all these pens, like, it's used to sign something, so somehow the pen is part of history. It's very bizarre. That's a bit of moon rock in a beautiful case. That's a teletype machine. These things are amazing. I love them. So these are some gifts. That's a hunting stick. These were presented by the Chinese ambassador. Just really lovely pieces. I mean, I don't think I need to comment on those. So there's a recreation of the Oval Office. You can see the amazing telephone there. But, if you're relaxing, having coffee, you can also make a phone call from the coffee table. There's a very kind of very typically American unsubtle design there. Lady Bird, LBJ's wife, was presented with this shovel at some point, which I rather like. So this is Lady Bird's office. A very beautiful desk, and this TV, all very boxy and square. I like this a lot. So the reason why there's papers on the floor is because she liked to sort out her paperwork on the floor, as I'm sure many of us do. There's this absurd car, which it's not the original one. The original one had bulletproof glass and armor plating, and it's too big to get in frame. This car is huge. So this is a sort of bronze finish door, and I thought it was very amusing that it's been kind of polished in the section that people actually touch. There you go, and you can just about make out my reflection. There's some shadows. There's another giant crossing. I mean, these roads are huge. This is inside the Capitol building, the Texas Capitol in Austin. There's a preacher man just doing his thing, talking to no one in particular. So you can see the shutters there. I mean, you really need them. I like that they have their own chairs. So this would let in a lot of air. There's a lot of really hideous paintings. And this camera was looking at me, so I thought I would look at it with my camera. They have really beautiful door hardware. And not to mention the etched glass. So clearly this is a more recent lock, and they have not been very careful when installing it. You can see the glass there. And then they have this beautiful embellishment on the door plate. It's just lovely. They also have these screws that I'm not sure what the correct description is for that. You need, is it called a pin wrench? We have those. I really like this. I don't know why more people aren't doing beautiful designs. Unfortunately, the wood has cracked. And this is the hinge, again, unique. And they've still got the zigzag pattern that is on every hinge. I think that distributes the load on the wood. So in America, they have these 2 chambers. We have 2 chambers as well. Bizarrely, in one of the chambers, I was asked to remove my hat, but not the other. And this is something that I find very strange. You can see they have this purpose-built area for payphones, and yet they've removed the payphones. Why? If you're going to remove it, remove all of it. But if you agree with me and think that this is part of the history of this building, why not leave the payphones? You can just disconnect them, you can block up the coin slot without aesthetically destroying it. I just don't understand why you would do this. And something that would be really nice would be if you had 3 different period examples of a payphone. They have this sort of steam bent wood for these chairs and benches, which is very nice. The building is massive, and it's also bizarrely empty. There's not even that much information, really. So this is a spiral staircase where you can enter the space between the inner and outer dome. Sadly, you can't. It's not open to members of the public. There's these nice little drinking fountains which match the building hardware. I like little details like that. Loads of people outside. And there it is. That's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed some of these. If anyone can recommend a place to share photos, please do let me know. If you have sat through this entire presentation, thank you very much. I will be posting some of my other trips. I didn't get any photos of the conference itself. Thank you very much, and goodbye.